Justice Omotosho'S confession as Bianca Ojukwu negotiated Nnamdi Kanus' jail sentence before the final judgment. I talk and say somehow someone has done something behind and underground for Omotosho to have so much courage and confidence to deliver that very judgment. You see, the night before that very judgment, information reaching us here in our studio is that Omotosho was contemplating to drop the case. He was contemplating to withdraw. Sorry, because according to him, the threat is becoming too much. But all of a sudden, we saw a man that just summoned courage, picked up the files, and went into the court to deliver his judgment. Unknown to us that an insider like Bianca Ojukwu are the people that motivated Omotosho. What a wicked world. People wicked. Betrayals. Bianca. Listen to what people are saying on the street. Spare me a little of time as we listen to what people are saying. Alright? Because people really talk.
Rights reports where we call out human rights violations across countries around the world. In terms of Nigeria's curriculum in particular, I don't have that information right in front of me, but we're happy to report back to you on the committee.
Yes, you can see very clearly the public hearing that is taking place right there in the United States of America. The northern part of the caliphate has reacted to the office of the Sultan of Sokoto, condemning that public hearing and exciting that the northern caliphate are the one that's supposed to be in the public hearing representing that Nigeria, and so therefore that public hearing will never have any effect on Nigeria and that time Nigeria, and the plan of Donald Trump will definitely collapse. What's your reaction? It is so shameful that even at this point, Sokoto is still diverting into issues that is supposed not to even address. What is the business between the Fulani bandits and the Christians who were being invited by the US government to seek redress of the killings of the fines by the Fulani bandits, as Sokoto as a cover of only to condemn the Christian genocide in the north. So if you tell me, why would the US government invite them to come to the Oval Office, to come to the states, US states, Senate, to come and speak their own side of the deal? What side of the matter do they want to tell the world? What side of the matter does Sokoto want to tell the world? Probably because he thinks that they are in charge of Nigeria, and then the same treatment that the Nigerian government gets, they can also do that to the Western world. I can say it with every conviction that Trump is not answerable to the Fulani caliphate. Trump is not answerable to the Fulani oligarchy. Trump is not answerable to the Fulani emirs. But the US government have invited the Christians in this issue of genocide. The Christians are the subject matter, not the Fulani. So it is a very clear indication that even with all this, the likes of Shegumi and Sultan Sokoto are still supporting these bandits. Because if the US Congress call to the Christians to come and give their side of story in regards to the killing, and Sultan Sokoto and Shegumi still have the effrontery to question that public hearing, saying that the public hearing would not stand, that it is null and void, calling on the Arab countries, nation, to come support them. Sultan Sokoto is joining war in his country. He is actually joining war against the Christians. and it shows that they are ready for this. They have this conquest agenda knocked out already to all the Christians. And we see that the federal government has been so docile in all of this. If not for the Trump intervention in all this, that is rights of Christians is not safe in Nigeria. South Africa running to Turkey, running to Iran and Pakistan to call them to come to the aid of Muslims. Where is it told? Where has it been documented or reported that Christians are buying Muslims in Nigeria? Where is it? All the boy was a Christian, killed by Fulani. A woman that was seen preaching in his own sect was not by the Fulanis. The same Fulani just a bit ago went to CSE in Kwara State, and South Africa has not come out to condemn that action, but rather he has come out to condemn the public hearing that was conducted by the U.S. Congressman in regards to the Christian killing, saying that public hearing would not stand. Who the hell is South Africa to have come out and say that public hearing would not stand? He should not dive into issues that will bring anarchy to Nigeria, because as it stands, ever since killings have been orchestrated in Nigeria, none of these political leaders in the north have come out to air their own grievances against the killing. We see them indirectly supporting the killings, supporting these Fulani men, supporting these bandits, indirectly or directly supporting bandits, and here they are also coming out to threaten America.
It's the Indomie Eat and Win promo. The more you eat, the more you win. How to win? Buy the Indomie Eat and Win promo pack. Find the promo code inside. Visit Indomie.com.
I think at this point, Trump needs to invade the country. But the fact, what we are looking at is that, they are trying to assert the position that, that they own this country, and the Trump intervention on Christian genocide will never stand. Don't you think that this kind of American presence might lead to, total disintegration of Nigeria, or are they not, pitching a certain sentiment against the Igbo people? Has been reported that it is the IPOB American power lobbies that are already presenting the genocide matter to the United States Congress. I was saw people from Middle Belt making transactions to that. Divided opinions and statements credited to the Benue State governor. There is no genocide and other. So how do we now reconcile this in between America, the Northern Caliphate, and of course the federal government of Nigeria? It is so shameful that a governor in Nigeria, a reverend father for that matter, will come out to the public and say there is no Christian genocide. The governor should give record of how many Muslims have been killed in Benue State. Is Benue State a Muslim state? Is Benue State not dominated by Christians? How many percent of the Muslims are living in Benue State? Those conflicts, even he as governor, one of top was the governor of Benue State. What did Otom said, Otom clearly said that this massacre is against Christians in Benue State, but because he has become a stooge to the Fulanis, and that is the reason why he has come out to debunk these killings. And then we know the implication that if he does not debunk the killings, the APC-led government might withdraw its allocation. That is why at this point, for this situation, that the Fulani believes, have this perception that Nigeria belongs to them. And that is why, that is the entry they have to challenge Donald Trump on the public service. And they are scared of the vision. They are very much scared of the mission. Great leaders that the US intervention might balkanize the country, might bring disintegration in the country. And they since make the that they are parasites. They are scared of the nation. That is why they are doing everything possible to hold this Nigeria, this country, united. But neither did I know, neither the Sokoto that already the country is in a state of fire. The country is on the verge of collapse. And I am very sure that Trump will not listen to him. I am very sure that Trump has his own way of doing things. And Donald Trump has dared that once he released the names of sponsors of terrorism, he might not fear anybody. He said it. The US government said it. That the US government might not fear who made you. Either you are the area, you are Satan of Ibadan, you are a pastor, you are a bishop, and every one of them will be picked.
Okay, looking at the position of the United States government finally on this interview section, we saw recently where the British monarchs, the kings visited Bola Ahmed Tinubu before Nnamdi judgment was passed. Is this understanding between the federal government and the northern bringing British kings to Nigeria, signifying that the Britain is going to back them against United States of America decision on Christian genocide?
We know the game they are trying to play. The president of Nigeria is doing everything. He's trying to win. He's pushing our agenda that the UK should not take side with the US government. He's trying to push a different sentiment. Not fully well that both US and the UK government have actually reached a conclusion on this matter. No matter how the president presume to bring in UK.
All right, so Nigerians are the great on Nigerian matter. Anyway, everything being equal, you can see that our country is gradually putting itself in a big ditch. Big ditch, not a small one. This has dragged the attention of the US government. Now, the US Congress have met, they have discussed, and now they are coming to conclusion that yes, Nigeria has really made a mess with a citizen, and so they will not keep mute. And you know what it means? Despite the series of calls, discussions, advice, and negotiation with Parliament, I was telling someone that Tinubu will never listen. Someone that is not, that is not okay. Someone that is not okay. Someone that is thinking out of the box. You can't expect that kind of person to come up with a positive thought like this, that, oh, it's not okay if I get this guy sentenced. You don't expect him. You will be thinking negatively. My dear listeners, this is the time for everybody to wake up, especially in the Igbo. You must not keep me this time. You need to rise and defend your own, except you don't want to defend Nnamdi. Yes, I have to say it, except you don't want to. But if you love Nnamdi and you want to defend him, this is the time to rise. Yes, thank you.